on a cash basis. So, and then we're going to select OK. Click OK to the Preferences window, close it. Note how the report has been adjusted to reflect change in depreciation expense as adjustment to operating activities and not an investing activity. So let's do that and note that that happens. So we have removed it from the investing activity here. So here it is here. Truck accumulated depreciation is up in the net income in the operating activities. So it's being added back to net income because it was an expense in net income, reducing net income. And now, because it's not a cash-related item, on the cash basis statement, it needs to be added back to net income. All right, so we have noted that. We're going to scroll down here. You can pause and read through the non-gray area, and we're going to go skipping to the gray area, which has another objective of to use the quick zoom with the statement of cash flow. So we're going to double-click on the 7,715.62 amount in figure 4.4 on the report reflecting changes in accounts payable, and then click OK. In the collapsing expanding transaction warning window, you have now opened a transaction detailed by account. So we're looking for that 7715. So we're looking for the 7715 in accounts payable. We're going to double click on that, and it says to select OK here, so we're going to go OK. And we have now opened a transaction detail by account for the account of accounts payable in this case. What is this similar to when we think about our traditional financial accounting? It is similar to a general ledger for accounts payable, or a T account, meaning it is giving us the data for accounts payable by date. Now, we could see what's in accounts payable, what's going to always happen in accounts payable. We have a bill, and then we have a check, a check and a bill and a check, bill. Scroll down, and we're going to scroll down to number 2. It says double check Bayshore water bill, dated 9/4/14. So we're going to scroll down to Bayshore water bill, which is on 9/4. So there it is right there. We got the zoom feature anywhere on this row. We can then double click on it and go to the exact bill here. All right, close the bill. So before we close it, I'm going to go ahead and print that and save it in case we need it, and print these out as we go. Once again, there's no export to the Excel feature here, and if we select the File tab and we don't see the save as a PDF, therefore we would have to either print it or screenshot it. So I'm going to go ahead and do both. I'm going to print it as a PDF by selecting the print option here, and then I'm going to change the printer to my PDF printer, which it is as the default in this case. I'm going to say OK. It will then print as a PDF. If it doesn't show up, I'm going to try to minimize the screen. There it is. Now it's going to chapter 3, and I need to adjust that. So if I hit the drop down, and I could go all the way through, I go to my desktop, I'm going to scroll down to the QuickBooks account, and this time I need a week 2 because I am currently in week 2. So I'm going to go right click, new folder, call it week 2, click off of it first, and then I'm going to double click on it. And then I'm going to right click in here and name the chapter, which is chapter 4. I'm going to click off of it and then I'm going to go back on it. And then I'm going to call this bill for Bayshore water, something like that, and save it. And then once again, if you wanted to do it a different way as well, if you do not have that option, again, it's free download to get the QPDF for it. But if you don't have that, then we could also do the screen cut. So that's going to be, if you do it in Word, it's in the Insert tab, and here's the screenshot, and it's the screen clipping, I meant to say. And so you could do the whole screen. I like to do the clipping. If that was the last screen open and you select this, then it will pop to the screen automatically, and then we can then clip the screen, and that is an alternative way to do this. I'm going to save this as well, save as, go to my computer, browse it, and then locate the document that I am looking to save it to, or the folder in which I am looking to save the document to, in week 2, chapter 4, and I could call it docs, and we'll save it there. I'll leave it open in case we need to use it again. We can save it to the same area. Then I'm going to go ahead and close this, and I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to, as far as this is open, I'm going to save it. This I would rather save as an Excel document. So I'm going to go to Excel. I'm going to create a new worksheet, and then I'm also going to create a new workbook. So the default is correct in this case, and go ahead and export that. Should open Excel with a new tab with this form inside of it. All right, so there it is. I'm going to make this large. I'm going to go to the View tab, which is the Page Layout tab. I'm going to select OK. Did a funny thing with the split option. To get rid of that, I'm going to go to the View tab up here at the top. I'm going to go to the Windows, and I'm going to turn off this split option. Then I can go ahead and double click on this tab to rename it. I'm going to call it the Transaction Detail by Account for a P in this case. And then I'm going to go ahead and save that. We're going to say File, Save As, go to the computer and browse, and then we are on the desktop. I'm looking for my QuickBooks file once again, QuickBooks being here, week 2 this time, chapter 4, and this is going to be chapter 4 reports, something like that. We'll put all the reports on this document. Again, if there's some kind of problem with that being able to work, you could go to File, Save As. You can also print this option. So if we went to File, Save As, a PDF, for example, this would also work, although it's not the preferred option because the Excel document will save everything into one tab, which is a little bit easier to both upload and read. I'm going to go into chapter 4. I'm going to keep the extension. I'm going to not delete that because I don't want to change it from a PDF file. Transactions Detail by Account, and we could say 1114 and save that. Alright, and then it says to close both the bill and the transaction detail. So we can then close that, and we are back here. And then it says close do not close the revised statement of cash flows. So we will refrain from closing the statement of cash flows. Then you can then select pause and read through this. We're going to skip to the next gray area in here, which has an objective of to obtain and print the statement of cash flows. To modify and print. Click Customize Report on Report button bar, and then click the Fonts and Numbers tab. Click in the Without Sense checkbox, and then click OK to close, and then click Print Report button. Alright, so we're going to make this report have no sense once again. So we're going to go to the Customize tab up at the top. We're looking at the Fonts and Numbers group on the right. And we want this report to be without sense, although it does have sense, but it has no pennies now in the calculations. They have rounded that in, and we can now print that. We, of course, are going to save it. I prefer to save it in the form of an Excel sheet, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new worksheet. Once again, I'm going to put it in an existing workbook this time. It's going somewhere, but I don't think it's going to the right place. I'm going to go ahead and browse and double check on that. It's going to chapter 3 right now. We are currently on chapter 4. We're in week 2. So I'm going to go into the QuickBooks, going to go into week 2, go into chapter 4 and double click this Excel document, export. It should open that document with a new tab with this report inserted on it. Alright, there we have it. So I'm going to go ahead and make this large. I'm going to see that's our sheet right there. I'm going to go to the Page Layout view, select OK, does the funny split, go to the View tab at the top. In the Windows group, we're going to unsplit this, allowing us to double click on the tab, change the name to the statement, I'm going to abbreviate it, of cash flow. And that'll be good. I'm going to go back to the normal view. Going to put my cursor on this tab, drag it over to the right here, so it's kind of in order as to how we saved it. Then we could save it here. We don't have to go to Save As because it is already in the location in which we want it to be, and close that. Once again, if you don't have that option, you can print it to a cute PDF, or you can save it as a PDF, and it's going to the location that we want. Not going to delete the PDF file. Call it the statement of cash flows, and then we can save it in that way as well.